Assalamu alaikum, and today we are talking about the glorious revolution of 1688 in England. The glorious revolution, also called the revolution of 1688 and the Bloodless Revolution, took place from 1688 to 1689 in England. It involved the overthrow of Catholic King James II, who was replaced by his Protestant daughter Mary and her Dutch husband William of Orange. Motives for the revolution were complex and included both political and religious concerns. The event ultimately changed how England was governed, giving Parliament more power over the monarchy and planting seeds for the beginnings of a political democracy. So this video is important not only for those studying English literature but also those who are studying political science. So this is how the parliamentary system came into existence, how the parliamentary system started. Since it was monarchy all over the England, how did monarchy come to an end, or how did it weaken, and how the thing was shifted to parliament. So it started with James II, who was a corrupt ruler in 1685. He was a person who through his corruption made many people his opponents, and he brought such reforms who were just paying contribution and profit to the royal family, and rest of all the people, the religious sect, the political sect, the downtrodden people, the middle class, all were suffering in his time. So James' daughter Mary, a Protestant, was rightful heir to the throne until 1688, when James had a son, James Francis Edward Stuart, whom he announced would be raised Catholic. So this was another good or important thing for James too, that he had his son, and before that his daughter Mary was sole ruler. So if James died before, so she could rule England, but when James had a son and then he announced that he will also be a Catholic, so this was an alarming thing for all the people. So birth of James' son changed the line of succession, and many feared a Catholic dynasty in England was imminent. The Whigs and the main group that opposed Catholic succession were especially outraged. So they did not want religion to control the basis of monarchy, that James II was a Catholic, and then again they were not willing to accept a Catholic, because there was a great upheaval and opposition between Catholics and Protestants. They kept killing each other. So if there was Catholic ruler, he did not allow the Protestant people enjoy their lives, or like they were not even allowed to enter in London. And if there was Protestant ruler, he did not allow Catholics to enter. So here James II, himself Catholic, and gave birth to a son whom he announced to be a Catholic. So Whigs, who were more in favor of Protestants, and Tories, who were more in favor of Catholics, both the parties they gripped together, and they thought that James II at least should not rule England. So all the people of England, they welcomed William of Orange and Mary to come to England and to take the rule and to start a new rule in England. So in 1688, 7 of Kings James Pearce wrote to the Dutch leader William of Orange, pledging their allegiance to the prince if he invaded England. William was already in the process of taking military action against England, and the letter served as an additional propaganda motive. William of Orange assembled an impressive armada for the invasion and landed on Torbay, Devon in November 1688 with 15,000 soldiers. So he came to England, and when he came to England, James II heard of him and he fled away to France. So the power was bloodlessly shifted from one ruler to another, from one monarch to another. So that is why it is called the Bloodless Revolution or the Glorious Revolution. So the outcomes were very good. Bill of Rights was signed and people were given rights. Parliament was made functional, and people were given some power. They were given some social status, and then even America, the 13 colonies of America, they were impressed by this glorious revolution, and the outcomes they had certain staunch rule as far as religion is concerned, that we can read in the crucible, which is depicted in Salem of New England in America. So they got some leniency in their rule. So this thing brought good impression all over the world. So after King William died, his wife Mary started ruling, and after her death, her sister Queen Anne started rule. So she had her 14 babies who died in infancy, and there was no further family member of James II's family who was left there and who could be the king or queen. So they called for George I, who was living in Germany, and George I was the king, a prince of Germany, who did not know English, and he was a distant relative of this monarch family. So he came to England and he started ruling. So James II came to England, but he did not know the English language. So he made a team to look after the country's affairs, and that team was known as cabinet. So from that thing, the cabinet system was formed, and among those people who were taking care of the affairs of the government and the rule, there was one first among equal who was known as the Prime Minister afterwards, and he was Sir Robert Walpole, who ruled from 1721 to 1742. So for 21 years he remained the Prime Minister of England, and he was the first Prime Minister. And from here the monarch's power that started decreasing, and the parliamentary system came to the front, and Prime Minister started getting the power. George III afterwards came, and like George II came as well, but George III was another monarch who tried to regain that power of monarchy, but it could not continue well for the monarchs, and afterwards we see, like in present times, there is only an emblem of monarchy left. The rule is truly vested with the Prime Minister. So if you don't know all this what I have just narrated, you cannot understand Gulliver's Travels and all allegorical part that he defines in it. His work, A Tale of Tub, is also written about the allegory of on political and religious issues. If you don't know these, you cannot understand that as well. And you cannot understand Rape of the Lock, since much of its part is about political and social satire. That is why Alexander Pope. You won't be able to understand that too. So you must be knowing all this. And then here is a link for you guys. If you can go to this link, you can explore furthermore that the results of Glorious Revolution on literature.